Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Shattered Citizen doing my first video. Wanted to first give a good shout to James Yeager, Main Prepper, Rebel Pundit, the Patriot Nurse, Hickok 45, Stacy on the right, Haley Strategic, and Costa Ludus for basically helping me guide myself into starting my first YouTubes. They were basically the subscriptions that I kind of used to think about how I wanted to start my first YouTube video. So I want to thank all of them for their information, not in any personal input, but the fact that they're able to kind of spread the knowledge and information out there about their particular skill sets and their genre in which they work made me think about what I could contribute to the YouTube world, but also to the everyday Joes myself. To give you a little background, I am a current military soldier in a state in the mid-Atlantic state. I am becoming a firearms owner. To have my first, I purchased that about a year ago. I'm also a student and an employee. So I wanted to start a video because I realized that there are a lot of people out there that do videos on weapons and gear and training and what kind of upper receiver I should get, what kind of loadout I should get, what kind of chest rig, things like that. I noticed, just based on a lot of people's comments and a lot of people that I talk to, that they seem to be getting hung up on the gear, not necessarily the, understanding the research behind it, how it's made, the quality, does it fit right, and a lot of people just kind of jump the gun. I've seen this once before, and just to say, to date myself, I'm the young 30s, so I was around during the whole craze of souping up your cars and your Hondas and everything else like that, and I used to get caught up in that too. So I know it could happen if someone says, "Oh, hey, I want to buy those new rims," or I want to get the intake manifold, or I want to get this new turbo, the T3 turbo. I want to get that, or I want to get the import JDM engine. So I understand that many people kind of jump in a bandwagon simply because everybody else has it. So my YouTube, what I wanted to start and what I wanted to get back is more of something that I think I have a lot of experience in, and that's basically leadership and research. So for the most part, I will be doing and gearing my videos around YouTube research. How to do, not a DIY or anything like that, but more or less how to approach a particular situation with a broad view. Basically how to make an informed decision before you invest or before you decide, hey, I want to buy that $2,000 ACR or whatever that is. I think it's important to make definitely informed decisions, especially now that the country's in this particular turmoil and there are a lot of jobs out there and people are forced to make a lot of hard decisions out there. So my channel will not just focus on weapons and gear and firearms training and things like that, but it will also focus on skill sets that are portable. So leadership skills are portable. You don't have to be a soldier in the military. You don't have to be a CEO. You can be just an average Joe working at McDonald's. That leadership skill is something that's going to carry you forward in life. McDonald's hopefully would notice that you're gaining in leadership skills and they promote you. These are skill sets that I think that everyone should basically learn at a young age, as young as possible. You're never too young to learn. That's how I understand. So this is just an intro video that I wanted to start and wanted to thank everyone who I have communicated with without videos via chat or chiming into their channels. Both my political friends on YouTube and my fellow firearm friends as well. So my channel is basically going to be about, I think, information. Either how to get it, how to understand it, how to, just for the most part, I just noticed that a lot of people just don't get too much informed decisions And that's not my concern, but it is, I think, to share how to come to an informed decision. What you decide, that is your right as a citizen and as your right in this country to choose your own path in life, to carve out your own choice. And I am in no way going to, uh, tell people what I think they should do. But I will give you my experience, and I think the way I do it, I will try to include as many graphs and show and tell features as possible. I think that's good that people can see it. The first thing I definitely like to start off with is to say if anyone has not read this book, I know this is probably going to come up backwards, but this is the U.S. Army Leadership Field Manual, FM 22-100. That is something I would start off with. There are people at my particular place of employment that have read this that have never been in the military, and they have always been able to get something out of it. The be, know, and do, the 3 tenets of any soldier. Is important, and that can be transferable to someone in the civilian sector, someone in the private sector. It doesn't have to be the military, but I will probably pull a lot of those ideas and topics from that book and apply them into a lot of the aspects that I see from some of my fellow subscribers here. So my comments will not be any kind of reflection, bad mouthing any of them, but I'll give you an example. I am a big fan of James Yeager. I like how he puts his YouTube videos together, and I have to agree with him. You either like me, you don't. And his jokes are, when it comes to his shirts, I actually like his shirts, but I digress. I think it's important, and I like the way he shows out, his weapon loadouts. I like the way he shows out what what's good for him. But he also talks about, the pros and cons of the weapons choices that he has, the gear he has, the pretty much everything that he shows that he gives a review on, whether, a product line, all the way down to the stitching. I was listening to when he was talking about his gear bags and talked about the stitching and how it could stitch. And, I listened to him about his the ITS Tactical. They talked about their new trauma kits that he was talking about. I like the way he goes with that. And of course, he takes his approach. What I would like to do is, take something very similar to that and talk about what's out there in the world and what I know, and basically say, an approach of how you should take that information. Of course, take it or leave it. It is definitely something out there, but giving my approach to something, maybe that's something that could help someone when they're trying to figure out what's the best, the best optic for their AR. I won't talk about what's my best optic. I think the informed decision would be, do your research on it. I think James Yeager pretty much says the same thing. I am in no means of any kind of expert in any field. I just have a lot of experience for the most part in information technology, but I do have applied a lot of my leadership skills that I have in the service, and I've seen myself kind of grow and kind of expand. So I'd like to share what I've learned in my time in both the service and in my civilian job as well, and kind of share that with the YouTube community. So my first sets of series that I'll try to start shortly and maybe get those out by the end of July is going to basically be on leadership. It's kind of a leadership series, researching gear, staying updated on current information, current events. I will be talking about training, and that not necessarily firearms training. That could be training in school or training in your particular genre. I've noticed that a lot of people tend to become complacent, and you lose kind of track of things. You kind of get rusty. You stay complacent. You want to train in anything you do. I think that's the important part. Train, refresh, train again, refresh. That's something that definitely you hear in the firearms community and in the shooter community about training. That's something that I've noticed myself when I train out there. When I'm out on the range, I've definitely try to train as much. Unfortunately, I don't do it as much as I can, so that's one strike against me. But I hear it all the time from the instructors. You got to get out there and train. That's the only way you're going to get better. You can take that same mentality and transfer that to let's say you're majoring in medical administration or medical technology. That's something you want to do. But it's also, I will be talking about, current trends that I've seen out there as well when it comes to that. It may not always be, you train, or in this case, you study to get that degree. It may not necessarily require a degree, and these are things I'm talking about doing the research on your particular field. What do you need versus what you can afford versus what is something that you can kind of get in to get your foot in the door. So I'll be talking a lot about those type of scenarios, I think, throughout my YouTube videos, and just, talking about general investing in your future, whether that's training in firearms, whether it's out there, tweaking your resume to get a job. I've just noticed that a lot of people that I've talked to off YouTube have always come to me and said, hey, you've got some great ideas. Is there any way I could send my son to talk to you? He's kind of stuck in a rut, or hey, you ever thought about teaching? And I've gotten a lot of those comments, and I have thought about teaching, but we'll see how that works out. Got a lot of things on my plate, so I'd like to see how that works out. So this is Shattered Citizen signing off, telling you that it's your responsibility and your duty to be informed.